Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gary gzduels, and I'm here to bring you guys my Blackwing deck profile for the September 2013 format. I've been playing with this a lot. I really like Blackwings in this format because of Black Whirlwind at 3, and it really revolutionizes the deck. It brings it back to not quite how it used to be back when Blackwings was top tier, but very close. And the good thing about this deck is it requires the least amount of setup, and you get the most amount of bang for your buck. All you need basically is this whirlwind to keep your deck running, and everything else just basically runs itself. Like whereas other decks, like Madolchase, you need to draw into a couple of cards in order to summon one, special summon the other, go into a combo. Blackwings is not about that. Blackwings, every single hand trap doesn't work against Blackwings. Like you can effect Veiler, but it won't do much. You can max C, but I'll just stop summoning. Like all of that just doesn't work against Blackwings. So I think Blackwings is a pretty good deck for this format. So without further ado, let me get into the deck profile. For the monsters, we have 20 monsters, 2 Blizzard, 3 Bora, 1 Gale, 3 Kalute, 1 Kochi. I'll talk about Kochi. 3 Shura, 2 Sorako, 1 Zephyros, 1 Darkholm Dragon, and 3 Effect Veiler. I'll talk about why. For the spells, we have 8. 1 Allure of Darkness, 3 Black Whirlwind. This card is so good. 1 Book of Moon, and 3 Pot of Duality. This Pot of Duality plus like 3 Whirlwind plus Allure of Darkness just almost guarantees you drawing into Black Whirlwind at some point throughout the game. So for the traps, we do play a very heavy trap lineup. We have 12. 1 bottomless because you could only run 1. Same thing with Compulse. I tech in a Delta Crow anti-reverse because of heavy being banned. 2 Fiendish Chains, 3 Acres Attack, 2 Mirror Force, 1 Solemn Warning, and 1 Torrential Tribute. As you can see, we only side deck the 3 MST. We don't actually main deck it, and I'll talk about why. So let's go into the side deck. 3 MST, 2 deck Devastation Virus, the second Delta Crow anti-reverse, 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, 3 Imperial Iron Walls, 3 Skill Drain, I'll talk about why, and 2 Vanity's Emptiness. In the extra deck, we have 1 Ally of Justice Taster, Armidy's Keeper of Boundaries, Black Rose Dragon, Blackwing Armed Wing, Blackwing Armored Master, Crimson Blader, HTS, I'm not going to even try, Scout Dragon, Stardust Dragon, XYZ Monsters. We have Abyss Dweller, Damodar Wolf, Gaga Cowboy, Lavavo Chain. This card is so good. Maestroke, Symphony de Jin, and Master Key Beetle because you can. So a lot of questionable choices, but first of all, I like to say that I modeled this deck somewhat after Sahabi's deck. Sahabi is the top 4 Blackwing player from YCS Toronto. What happened before YCS was I created a Blackwing deck to test against. So my friend and I, we would play each other using decks, and after the event, I took a look at my Blackwing deck. It was really similar, strangely similar to Sahabi's deck. So I wouldn't say I copied it, but I did get a lot of, the ratios and stuff from him. The Blackwing Monsters basically is just exactly what he plays, except for Kochi. Now, he plays Vayu because he has that level 5 Blackwing Monster that he depends on, and I know why it's good because, you can use Vayu's effect in the graveyard, but I just think Vayu is a bit gimmicky, whereas I like Kochi for several reasons. First of all, is a level 4 tuner. If you normal summon Kochi, you special summon out Bora, you can go for a level 8 Synchro. So that's another avenue for you to go into a level 8 Synchro. Now, if you have a Zephyros in the graveyard, you have a face-up Whirlwind, and you have Kochi in your hand, you can summon Kochi, activate Black Whirlwind, bounce back the Black Whirlwind with Zephyros, and you can still go into a level 8 Synchro. Not only that, because it's a dark monster, you can dark level 4 monster, you can go into cool things like Master Key Beetle. It really makes you protecting Black Whirlwind that much easier. And you can also search this using Bora's effect because of its low attack. It only has 700 attack, so if your Bora somehow destroys one of your opponent's monsters by battle, you can special summon out Kochi and then overlay for Lavavo Chain. So that's the basic play you want to do. You want to be able to get a plus off of Shura, and then you want to overlay for Lavavo Chain. Now, with these two materials on Lavavo Chain, you want to detach one, and you want to place Darkholm Dragon on the top of your deck. Now, if your opponent somehow doesn't get rid of that Lavavo Chain, next turn use Lavavo Chain's effect, discard Zephyros from the deck to the graveyard. Now you have exactly 3 dark monsters, you can drop your Dark Arm Dragon, and then a lot of shenanigans can happen. I show that in a video, so that's why I really like playing Kochi. The fact that it's a tuner monster, the fact that it's searchable by Shura, the fact that you can go into Synchros if you wanted to, it's just overall really, really good. That's why I played this instead of Vayu. Vayu being a level 1 monster, if you draw it, it's a dead draw. If you draw Kochi, it may not be a dead draw because you can just summon it, special summon Bora, go into place. That's why I play Kochi, so, you know. For the hand traps, I know Sahabi runs 3 Max C's. I don't understand why he does, because I don't think Max C is as good as Valor, especially because Valor just says no to monster effects, whereas, you know, Max C, you have to like time it correctly to get pluses. Sometimes you just get a 1-for-1. I know Valor is technically quote unquote a minus, but think about what your Blackwing monsters can do. If your opponent opens up with a rabbit, you can effect Valor that rabbit, next turn summon out Shura, get a plus. So, you know, you don't -1, you actually just 1-for-1. If your opponent summons out Tour Guide, you go effect Valor. A lot of things can happen. So effect Valor I think is definitely good, plus it's just that much more usable than Maxi. If you have a Valor in your hand, it's a level 1 tuner, and if somehow you needed to make a desperation play, go into Catastor, you can, you know, maybe use Zephyros effect in the graveyard, and then normal summon out effect Valor, go for Catastor, and that might actually save your game. Whereas if you have Maxi, at that instance, like, what is your Maxi going to do? Is a level 2 insect monster that you can't really do much with. Plus, if you're afraid of your opponent's special summoning, you have side deck options. You have the ability to side in Vanity's Emptiness. You have a lot of cards that just deconstruct the field, like Icarus Attack, like, you know, 1-for-1s like Bottomless Trap Hole. Just a lot of good cards in the trap lineup so that you don't necessarily need Maxi to keep you going. I know that Maxi adds consistency to the deck, but I just don't think it's as good as running 3 effect Valors. So that's why I run 3 effect Valors. Other than that, the trap is pretty straightforward. I want to talk about why I main deck 1 Delta Crow and side out 3 Mystical Space Typhoon. So in this format, a lot of people get overconfident and they set 5. And they set 5 not knowing that, you know, Delta Crow is a card. They think sometimes, you know, they have answers like Solemn Warning. Okay, so they think they have answers like Solemn Warning so they can escape a Black Rose Dragon, or if they have Fiendish Chain, they can escape a Black Rose Dragon. But Delta Crow Anti-Reverse doesn't necessarily need the Blackwing monsters to, you know, survive. All you have to do is summon a Blackwing monster. If they choose to, like, Bottomless or whatever, you can chain Delta Crow Anti-Reverse, get rid of all the back row that they have. It's just a very cool card. You go first. What you can do is you go first, you summon out Shura, you set Delta Crow Anti-Reverse. Your opponent, you know, sees that you have Shura, you probably have Collude in your hand, so they're going to play more defensively. They set 4 traps. And then during your end phase, you activate Delta Crow Anti-Reverse. It will single-handedly win you that game. Delta Crow Anti-Reverse is just really good. I don't depend on Mystical Space Typhoons in the main deck because I don't really have enough room. Plus, Icarus Attack is just that good of a card. You use Icarus Attack like this. Some people say, you know, Icarus Attack is a 2-for-2, but I say it's actually a plus. What you do is you only use Icarus Attack when you have to. So if you are attacking with one of your Blackwing monsters, say like you're attacking with Sirocco, and then they activate something like D-Prison, that's when you activate Icarus Attack, tributing your Sirocco and then destroying 2 other cards. So say your opponent has 3 set back row, you have a Icarus Attack set. Your opponent, you attack directly into your opponent uses D-Prison, so he has 2 other set cards set. Now you activate Icarus Attack, tribute your Sirocco, and then you target the 2 set cards, so they technically lose 3 cards, you only lose 2. And Icarus Attack is just good in general. If your opponent MSTs it, you can use it, and it's a +1, so you don't really necessarily need this MST, because your monsters are basically expendable with Icarus Attack. If they're bottomless, you can chain Icarus Attack, so I only side in MSTs when I really need it, when a deck just definitely hurts me. So that's why I keep it in the side deck. I agree with Sahabi. Sahabi also does the same thing. Okay, now, other than that, there's another interesting choice in the side deck, which is Skill Drain. My friend who plays Blackwing, and he went with me to YCS, and we discussed Skill Drain in Blackwings. We thought about it, and we said, if you think about how the Blackwing deck works, is all about like beating down your opponent's monsters and utilizing traps to back you up, utilizing Icarus Attack, utilizing Colludes in your hand. You know, not a lot of effects on the field really is vital to the survival of the deck. What I mean is, if you have Sirocco, it would be nice for you to combine attack, but is not always necessary. You can just attack with the monsters that you have. If you have a Gale on the field, I know that you would want Gale's effect to go off, but sometimes you don't really need to. You can special summon this. You can still special summon it because the Blackwing monster is still Blackwing monster on the field. So you can special summon this from your hand, and maybe you can just go into a level 7 monster and just attack over their monster. You don't necessarily need to have it. So the only card that really hurts is Blizzard. So what you do is you just side out the 2 Blizzards and you put in 2 Vanity's Emptiness. And Vanity's Emptiness is also a reason why I don't play Maxi, because why bother drawing cards off of Maxi if I can just stop you from special summoning? So Skill Drain is definitely a good side deck card because it just hurts a lot of other decks, except for Dragon Rulers. It'll hurt decks that will try to hurt you, like Mermails. It will hurt decks like I don't know, Constellar, Evil Swarm, just all of like Madolches. It would kill Madolches instantly. Like Skill Drain is such a good card. And Imperial Iron Wall, nothing needs to be said. It stops the top decks. It stops things like Dragon Ruler plants. It stops things like Prophecy. So, you know, the fact that Blackwings can go into these really good side deck cards is also a plus for them. The only thing I will say about Blackwings is like the extra deck support for them isn't necessarily the greatest, but at the same time, this means that the Blackwing deck doesn't need to go into these flashy white and black monsters in the extra deck in order to win. So it could be seen as a advantage. Yeah, so I guess that's all I really want to say about this deck. Other choices are pretty self-explanatory. The viruses you run because they're good. The Synchro monsters you run because you can, and these XYZ monsters, I consider them to be staple. So if you have any other question about this deck, I wouldn't mind like making changes to it if you have any suggestions. This deck is very cheap to make. You can pick it up easily, and I just hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. So this is Gary gzduels signing out.